Hopefully this stays up this time. I've tried to get it up like 2 or 3 times, but it wasn't working. Started for like maybe 30 seconds and then it kind of froze up. So public this time. All right, good. I'm gonna give this like 1 to 2 minutes to let people come in, or a couple minutes, maybe up to like 3 minutes to let people come in. But if you're just coming in or you're watching this after the fact, let me know about any New Year's fitness goals you may have. Let me know about anything you guys have planned for the new year, anything that you plan to do or on New Year's or for the holidays. I know New Year's is like a big time for fitness, but the main thing that happens is people they start in the New Year's, but they never keep going. You know, they start through, you know, January, February, maybe stretch it out to March, but then they end up falling off, and that's probably the biggest factor in regards to you know, continuing to be able to work out. What's up? If you're just coming in, let me know about your New Year's fitness goals. Let me know what you guys have planned for 2019. Any personal records you want to break. Hopefully this is public. I think it is. I kind of messed up a little bit ago. It was kind of acting funny with OBS. So yeah, but so what I'm going to go over before some more people come in and you guys ask questions or let me know about your goals is being able to stick to your New Year's fitness goals. Now, a lot of people have New Year's fitness goals or fitness goals in general, and these are goals that they've already tried to do, not in the New Year's. They tried to do August or maybe September or somewhere around somewhere. And people end up trying to do the exact same thing in regards to New Year's around January. They don't change anything. The only thing that they do is they just start up again. And I could see why that could be a recipe for disaster. And the main reason why is because they're acting off of emotion. They think, okay, well, if I try it again, you know, I got the New Year's emotions going. Let's go. New year, new me. It's kind of a little corny. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I think that trying for New Year's is actually a really good thing. But the main problem with that is that most people don't change anything. They don't change what's going on with their with the way that they're doing things. Like, for example, if they try to do 6 workouts a week and around August, and New Year's comes and they go back to doing 6 workouts a week, that's probably not the best way to increase workout adherence. And that's the problem. Is I think it's really cool and good that you want to change yourself, but if you're not changing how you're approaching changing yourself, then you're just setting yourself up to not succeed again. So let me give you an example. Like I just said, if you're someone who tried working out in the middle of the year and you tried with 6 workouts, and you, what's up? If you're just coming in, let me know any New Year's goals you may have, anything you have planned for 2019, anything you're doing for the holidays. But I'm just talking about how to increase adherence for New Year's, because a lot of people tend to fall off after like January or February. So if you're doing 6 workouts around the middle of the year and you couldn't stick to 6 workouts, and here comes New Year's, everyone's getting motivated, everyone says, oh, new year, new me, they want to start working out, and you go back to trying to do 6 workouts again, that might not be the most successful thing you can do in regards to staying to being able to adhere to your working out. So that might be something that you want to switch. Instead of trying to go for 6 workouts, maybe you can try to do 3 workouts. Instead of doing like a push pull legs, you can do like a upper lower, or you can do a total body for 3 workouts a week. But approaching it the same way you're doing in January, just because it's a new year and there's more emotion riding, you know, you're riding more of an emotion-based kind of train, doesn't mean that you're going to be necessarily be more successful. If anything, you might be setting yourself up for a harder crash. Because again, you have all these emotions, you think new year, new me, I'm going to change. And if you did the exact same thing you did before in the middle of the year, then that might be something that you're like, oh, okay, well, you don't change anything. Here comes January and you end up doing worse. Or you just don't end up doing anything different or better. You don't do better. And you're like, wow, I built this thing up. I built this thing in my head. It's going to be new year, new me. I thought I was going to change. And comes March or February, you fall off and you stop working out. So if you're going to have New Year's goals and you're going to have you're gonna want to make change, I don't think that you should just do the same thing that you did before. So some tips on, like, let's start with working out and programs. If you have a workout program and you weren't seeing success before, there's a few tips that I can give you to help you increase your adherence. And the first one I kind of already go over, but to make it more direct, is try not to overload or overwhelm yourself with too many workouts. So if you're someone who doesn't like working out, or you don't have that much time for workouts, then I recommend you maybe just stick to 2 to 4, no more than 4 workouts a week. But you can even just do 2 workouts a week, a total body and a total body. You can easily see success with 2-hour workouts a week, so you don't feel overwhelmed. And that's another thing too, is maybe it's not the amount of workouts, maybe it's the duration of the workouts. If you're someone who can work out 4, 5, 6 times a week, but you don't like long workouts, you don't need long workouts. You can make an easy workout and a good workout and an effective workout, easily make it within 15-20 minutes long, which still isn't that much total length of time that you're working out in the gym. So that's something that a lot of people try to do, is they shoot for so much, super long workouts, a ton of volume, and working out 6 times a week when you don't necessarily need to. Now, the second thing that I think that might be able to help benefit you in regards to working out is you don't need to train to failure. For those of you watching this, and a lot of you who may be watching this stream after the fact, you probably may have been heard or told or whatever it is, and it's not correct, is that you have to train to failure to make gains. You absolutely don't have to train to failure to make gains. This may be surprising to you, or it may not be, especially from some of the stuff that you've heard from me. But I know there are big fitness YouTubers are super pro training to failure, but the science just does not support that notion. You don't have to train to failure. And if you think that you got to go to the gym and absolutely destroy or murder yourself every single set, every single rep, that's not the case. So you don't have to train to failure. For those of you who don't know, I was in the Marine Corps, and before the Marine Corps, I did high school wrestling. And any of you have done wrestling in high school or college or any of that stuff, it's pretty brutal. Like, just a good wrestling team is going to push you to the point where you borderline hate the practices. I mean, you do it because of the pride, but it sucked. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't want to go to wrestling every single day. Who wants to go to wrestling every single practice? I love wrestling, but like, the shit's hard. Who wants to do bear crawls for 30 minutes? Like, I don't want to do that, But that's like sports, and that's a little bit different because it's competition, and it's kind of like, like a dog eat dog mentality. Like, it's in a weird way, sports are like survival of the fittest. But it doesn't have to be that way with working out. If you're just coming in, let me know what plans you have for 2019. Let me know about your fitness goals. Let me know about what you're doing for the holidays. I'm just talking about tips you can use to increase adherence so you don't fall off at the end of March. Or February, whenever most people fall off. But yeah, so like I was saying, like, wrestling is something that, like, I can't lie and say, oh, every single practice I look forward to. I mean, monkey rolls, bear crawls, and sprints, I mean, when you're past the point of feeling like you want to die, aren't really the funnest thing to do in the world. But that's sports, and that's 100% different from the gym. So if you're someone who can't stick to working out, then training to failure might not be something that's, one, it's not optimal, and two, it's probably not something that you necessarily want to do or should be doing. If you have in the back of your head, oh wow, I have to go to the gym and I have to push myself past the point of failure, and when I'm absolutely exhausted, I have to do a couple more. Oh, and past the point of failure, I have to do negative reps, and I have to do eccentric overloads, and I have to do all these crazy things that honestly don't have very strong evidence to support those notions or claims, then that might deter you from going to the gym. If you understand that your workouts don't have to be that long, you don't have to do a lot of workouts throughout the week, and you just have to make the sets relatively challenging, and that can optimize gains in muscle mass and hypertrophy, then why not just stick to that? So that's another thing that you can do to increase adherence for in regards to working out. Another thing that you can do to increase adherence for working out is just to pick exercises and things that you enjoy doing and try to avoid things that you don't like doing. I'll give you guys a good example, and I'm not sure if you guys are the same with this. I fucking hate lunges. I don't like lunges. I had knee surgery when I was in the Marine Corps, I tore my ACL, my meniscus. I had a hairline fracture at the top of my tibia, and then I had a partial MCL tear. So I basically destroyed my whole knee. So I don't like lunges. Lunges just don't feel neat. They don't feel nice, and they just feel awkward. And for some reason, I just hate them. I can do barbell step ups. I can do squats. I can do goblet squats. I can do leg press. I can do most other leg exercises. I just don't like lunges for some reason. So I just don't include them in my workout program. Yeah, so that's something that, like, for you, if you don't like doing a specific exercise, then just don't include it into your workout program. I feel like that's something that a lot of people think that they have to do, and it's not something that you have to do. I just feel like if you dread going to the gym because of, everyone says they have to do back squats. I absolutely hate back squats. Front squats are more of my thing. I've heard people say that before. I don't like doing back squats because front squats, I don't like the bar on my back. I like doing front squats, and front squats don't feel as like just bad on my joints. They just don't feel as awkward. Now, I don't agree with that. I think front squats are way harder than back squats, but I've met some people that said that before. Grumpy Snorlax, what's up, man? What's up? That's a cool name and a cool picture too. My legs have more body fat compared to upper body and have body image issues because of it. I don't know if I should eat more to gain mass or cut down because of my legs. I'm 5'7", 119 to 125 pounds. One, with the body image issues, I'm not really going to address that too much, because in the sense of like scope of practice, I definitely recommend you see a professional to talk about that stuff. But I understand how you feel, man. I have body image issues, and a lot of us do. That's why most of us work out. You know, there's points in your life where you think you're cool or you like yourself, and then there's points where you hate yourself. But you said that you have your legs have more body fat compared to your upper body. Honestly, where your body gains and loses fat is not up to you, and that's clear. It's just going to gain and lose fat dependent upon your genetics, and just dependent upon, your genetics mainly. So if you just want to lose fat everywhere, you just have to get to an extremely low body fat percentage. What's your body fat percentage, Grumpy Snorlax, if you know it, or do you know, like 5'7", 100? You're pretty lean. Yeah, that would be the main thing to do, is just to to get lower body fat percentage. Again, as you already know, and with all the little drama going on YouTube, there's no such thing as spot reduction. You can't spot reduce specific areas of fat. There's like all that drama going on between what's it called, Every Damn Day Fitness and then Official Thenics. So yeah, they're kind of like going back and forth at it. But obviously, I agree with Every Damn Day Fitness, Official Thenics. You can't spot reduce. So I just recommend, one, getting down to a lower body fat percentage, much lower than you are now if you're not already super low. That'll help kind of get rid of fat everywhere. And if the last place fat's going to be on is your legs, that's the last place that's going to go. You got to get down low enough that it starts to go. Two, I recommend just trying to get your upper body bigger in regards to muscle mass. That could help balance it out and make it a little bit more proportional. Three, if the last thing that I can say, man, is just wear pants. Wear pants. If you got to do that, you got to do that. But again, against the body image issues, you have to talk to someone. Thanks for your question, though. If you're just coming in, let me know any questions you guys have about the New Year's. Let me know about anything you have planned for 2019, any goals you might be having, anything that you're going to be doing for the holidays. I've talked about it before, but I have some goals of getting a 500 deadlift in 2019, and then I also want to get, it's going to be hard, but I want to get 30 pull-ups. Right now I'm sitting at about a 22, 23. That last time I tested, that 23rd one kind of looked a little ugly, and I'm not sure whether to count it, but it's around 22, 23. So I have 7 more to do, but those last 7 are they're pretty brutal. So yeah, so what I was talking about is increasing workout adherence. And the last thing that I was saying was, if you don't like specific exercises, just don't do them. Sometimes that can deter you from going to the gym. And I know that I don't like lunges, so I don't do lunges. So to kind of recap in regards to training is, you don't need to do long workouts. You don't need to do too many workouts throughout the week. You could do 1 to 4 workouts a week for 10 to 60 minutes per workout. And I can make a good workout with any of those things in mind. That'll keep workouts short and you're not stuck at the gym forever. The second thing to increase workout adherence would be don't train to failure if you don't like to train to failure. I honestly, again, even if you like training to failure, that's not the most optimal way to train. It doesn't get you any extra gains, and it just increases your recovery period from one workout to the next. And then the last thing would be is just don't do any exercises or workouts that you don't enjoy doing. And it's not even just on an exercise basis. If you don't like a whole style of working out, like if you don't like training heavy, then don't train heavy. Now, if your goal is to get stronger and you don't like training heavy, you might want to meet yourself in the middle on that. For example, if you're someone who doesn't like training heavy that often, I wouldn't program you with that much heavy lifting, but it's just good to get some, just a little bit. Maybe have like one hard rep at the beginning of your workout for whatever exercise you're trying to get stronger at. And then that'll be enough. It should be enough of a stimulus to be able to help you get stronger. Now, that might not be enough of a stimulus to optimize gains in strength, but at least you're getting some strength without having to completely ditch it. And you don't have to do a lot of it because you don't like it. Same thing goes with high rep training, or same thing goes with like body weight training. If you're someone who just likes body weight training, then just stick to body weight training. You don't have to do, I know a lot of my workouts are focused on like getting stronger, strength, powerlifting based movements, or hypertrophy. Maybe not so much body weight exercises, but if body weight exercises are more of your thing, then stick to body weight exercises. I definitely think that's something that you need to do. So it includes exercises, but it includes whole workouts. So I don't think sticking to exercises that you like and workouts that you like is key. So use those tips if you have trouble with sticking to workouts, and make sure you change something though. There might be other things that bother you. It could be like when you go to your workouts, you get a pain during a specific movement, then don't do that movement. There may be a lot of other things keeping you from working out, but whatever it is whatever you tried to do before at the beginning of the year, whenever you're going to start again in January, change something. Don't just do the same thing, because if one thing didn't, if let's just say workout scheme A, whatever that workout is, you did a workout scheme A in August and it didn't work. If you try workout scheme A again in January, the only change between the middle of the year and January is the fact that you're more motivated, and you just maybe feel more uplifted. You have a lot of friends doing it. But if that's the only thing that changes, what about like past January or towards the end of January, where you don't have that emotional ride of the new year, new me thing? You still have the problems that were there in workout scheme A. Now, if you looked at workout scheme A and kind of addressed, okay, well, with workout scheme A, I have a lot of problems here. These workouts were too long, they were too hard, I had this exercise I didn't like. You made some adjustments and made a whole new, let's just call it workout scheme B, and then you have a whole new workout that's good, and then you tried it in January, then that's something that can help you succeed. You know, you're actually making changes, you're addressing the direct problems that you had with workout scheme A. You made some changes, so now you get the new changed workout with things that are going to benefit you. They're going to help you adhere and stick to that, but you're also going to get the benefit of that emotional ride of January, and that's something that might help you stick to it in the long term. So if you guys have any questions after about workout adherence, you could ask me those questions. They could be something specific or not specific, but whatever you have, I'll check this back after the stream and answer any of those questions. Now, in regards to diet adherence, it's the same thing. It's just as important. If you can't stick to a specific diet, then like for whatever reason, it doesn't matter how optimal it is. If I give you this is a weird example, but I always tell people this. If I gave you a diet that within 6 months was guaranteed you to get the body that you absolutely loved, whatever body fat percentage, whatever amount of muscle mass, it's going to get you that perfect shape that you like, whether it be like for strength optimization. But I told you that every single meal tasted like absolute shit and you just hated it. Like, I'm talking about it made you gag, it made you want to puke. You'll last like 3 days on that diet, even if it was guaranteed to make you the most healthy and the exact physique that you wanted. So that's not something that you can do. Now, that's an exaggeration, but people put themselves in those positions all the time. What's up, Santos? How you doing? You said if you've been training for 2 years but barely been making strength gains but have got size gains, can you still get noob gains for strength? It depends. I'd have to look at your workout program, but yes, you can. If you like, I mean, yeah, it does. It depends. If you were doing strength workouts and you had high specificity, then and your workout program was good, it could just be a genetic factor limiting you for strength. But usually, it's not a genetic factor limiting you for strength. There's usually some hole, like, if you're doing an exercise, let's just say you want to get stronger at squat. The main thing I would ask is, I hope at some point in your training, you're training below 6 reps and you're training at high percentages of your 1 rep max. So that's the first thing, is if you're not training heavy and you start training heavy, you're going to get a lot of noob gains there. Now, the second thing I would ask is how often you're doing the movements that you want to get stronger at. So if you're doing like, let's just say the squat example, if you're only doing squat one time a week, if we increase that frequency to 2 or 3 times a week, let's just say 3 times, and I had you do like a hypertrophy power strength setup where one day is focused on accumulating workout volume, maybe like a 7 to 15 rep range. The second day is a power day focused on moderately heavy singles and doubles. It's kind of like your less fatiguing day. It's the easiest day of the week. And then your third day would be a strength day where it's that maybe 4 to 6 rep range where you have those grindy reps, and the highest RPE day. Then yes, you could also make some noob gains if you were like, for example, if you went to that from doing squat 1 time a week, you're definitely going to make some noob gains. But if you're already training heavy, you're already training multiple times a week, and you have some daily undulation in the week, like you have different rep ranges, then I could still probably make some changes to your technique or your program, but I don't think you can make noob gains at that point. So I'd have to specifically know your program. So Santos, if you could answer me those 2 questions. 1, are you training heavy, below 6 reps, high RPEs, somewhat often? And 2, how often are you doing the exercises that you want to get stronger at? So those 2 questions will help me. If you're just coming in, let me know about your New Year's goals. Let me know anything you guys got for New Year's planned, anything you're doing on New Year's Day. A lot of you guys are probably going to get fucked up drunk, but hey, that's none of my business. Let me know what you guys got planned for the holidays. Let me know, goals you have planned for way later in 2019. But yeah, as I was saying, for nutrition, it's the same thing as a workout program. Is if you try to diet in the middle of the year, if you try to do the exact same thing, what up, Joshua? How you doing? You said you mix up the order of your lifts. I find I usually start with squat and OHP, then do row, bench, and deadlift. So I'm assuming you're doing total body. If you're doing total body, or like if I were to do total body, I would stagger. I always stagger my exercises. Like for total body, I always start with the biggest compound movements, which would always be a leg movement. I would go from like a squat to like, and since that's a leg push, I go the complete opposite. I go to upper body pull. So I'll go from like a squat to like a bent over row to maybe like a glute bridge, which is like a hip hinge versus a squatting movement. I don't like saying a posterior movement because glute bridges are still probably going to get some quad activation. But so then I would go to like a glute bridge, and then I would go to like maybe a push. So I'm kind of staggering them. That's how I do that. If you're doing a total body, I also stagger if I'm doing like an upper lower split as well. Grumpy Snorlax, you said I have a lower back pain during ab training, so I rarely do ab workouts. Any advice? I think Athlete X had a video on this. Really good channel. I really like it. But I think I've also heard this somewhere else. And this may be, I'm not, obviously check with your doctor. If you have a doctor, check with your doctor first. Take their advice over mine. I'm just giving my input, and it's not a doctor. No problem, man. No problem, Joshua. But Grumpy Snorlax, one of your lumbar vertebrae, I think attaches to your femur. One of your, I don't know why I said that. One of the muscles of your hip flexors, I think it's your psoas major. It connects to one of your lumbar vertebrae. So when you do ab movements that include leg lifts, what happens is you're lifting your legs, and it's actually, if you have weak abs and your hip flexors are taking over it could be tugging on your lumbar vertebrae, and most people don't think about that. So if you're doing any type of leg lifts or lifts that involve your hip flexors, which most people are going to somewhat involve their hip flexors during ab movements because they have some form of leg lift, it's going to be attached to your lumbar vertebrae, and it could be tugging on it if you have like weak abs and you don't know it. So I think Athlete X actually had a good video on it, and I would definitely defer to him because he's a physical therapist. But I think he had a good tip of when you do your ab movements, Grumpy Snorlax, squeeze something between your legs. So put like a towel or something between your legs. You could put like anything. A towel would be the easiest because what's happening is there's reciprocal inhibition, I think was his reasoning, and it actually had your hip flexors focused on something else. So that's a tip that you can do. Check out his channel for that. You could probably look that up. But I think that it's either his channel or someone else. But that's the best advice I can give, man, is to put something between your legs and squeeze it when you're doing ab movements. And that's why it's hurting, is because your hip flexors are taking over. And if it's compensating for your weak abs, then you have to remember that your hip flexors, specifically your psoas major, is connected to your lumbar spine. Santos M said, I do upper body twice a week. Start off with bench 5x5, then do some pull-ups, shoulder press, and accessory work. Then I have a 1 leg day, 4x5 squats, 4x3 trap bar deadlifts, split squats, and sled pushes. You said I do sprint twice a week sometimes, so do 2 a day. It's upper body and sprint. So Santos, so on your do you do the same? I start off with a heavy compound movement every workout. Do you do the same upper body week twice a week, or is it a different upper body workout? Because, like, for example, you said you do 5x5 on bench. If you want to get stronger on bench, that second workout, is it the same thing, or do you not? Is it something completely different and you don't do bench again? Because if you didn't do bench again, then that would only mean you have a 1x frequency on bench press, and I would definitely say same upper body. Okay. So do you ever go like lighter than 5 reps? Or is it just sorry if you guys heard something in your ear. But do you ever do heavier than 5 reps? I mean, like lighter than 5 reps? Because it seems like you got a fair amount of heavy work, and you said 5x5 on bench. No, never. It's always below 5 reps. Well, actually, it could be the opposite then of what you were talking about. It's good to lift heavy due to the principle of specificity. There's a lot of strength adaptations that happen when you're lifting heavy that you cannot get with lifting at lighter loads and higher repetitions. So, for example, if I had to pick someone who never trains heavy and only trains heavy for squats or for exercise, and I said, well, which one's better for strength gains? I'd obviously say the person who only trains heavy, but it doesn't have to be an and or there. You could do both. So what I think you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot when you never ever go over. You said it's always below 5 reps or 5 reps or below. You're kind of shooting yourself in the foot because one of the components of strength, and it's not the whole component, it is hypertrophy, is gaining muscle. When everything else is held equal, like Santos M. If I had a clone of you, if I had Santos A and Santos B, and you guys have everything the same, technique is the same, everything is the same, but one is more jacked than the other, the more jacked Santos is actually going to be stronger. So what happens is when you're lifting in these lower rep ranges, you're kind of making it hard for you to accumulate volume. And if you're making it hard for you to accumulate volume, I'd argue that you're leaving gains on the table in regards to hypertrophy. And hypertrophy is a component of strength. So if you're already training heavy and you're doing everything right with strength, the next thing that you can do is add more muscle mass, because then you're going to be able to lift more weight. So the 7 to 15 rep range is still a good rep range to accumulate volume, and it is good for people looking to increase their strength. Now, I do think that the majority of your training should be depending, again, it's kind of a loaded question. If you're in a volume block, most of your training could be in the 6 to 8 rep range. If you're in intensity block, I would say most of your training should be in the 6 reps or below, like how you're doing now. But if you're always training in the 5 rep range or below 5 reps, and you're never going higher, you could be shooting yourself in the foot in regards to training volume. So you got to think about gaining muscle, man. That's kind of the short answer. Joshua said, "What do you do when you have to be out of the gym for a week or two? Same volume when you return, or slightly less?" Two things. Yes, I would do less volume. Take a break off and you come back, I would definitely recommend you have an intro week. So what I would do is whatever volume you were doing, take a week where you do maybe like half volume, and then that next week go back to your regular volume. The reason being is that research has shown that when you, well, this isn't even a research thing. I mean, there's probably research on it. But if you go from no training to a lot of training, or you go from little training to a big increase in training volume or intensities, you're going to have a lot of delayed onset muscle soreness. But I don't care what anyone says online. There's not a ton of evidence for this, but the evidence we do have has shown that muscle soreness is not a good indicator of muscle hypertrophy. And actually, the evidence that has been shown has shown that when you have this immense amount of soreness after a workout, like the next day or two, that you're more so recovering than you are building muscle. So you're not actually gaining more muscle. It's when you get that repeated bout effect, you start getting muscle. So like Joshua, if you were to took a couple weeks off because of a holiday and came back and went to your regular training volume, you'd probably get really sore that week. And we want to avoid that when possible. We want the repeated bout effect. So I recommend doing an intro week, half volume, and then going to your regular volume that second week back. Because the repeated bout effect is good. That's what we want. That's when we actually start building. Again, the research has shown that when you get super sore or you purposely seek out soreness, it's just not the best way to make gains. Santos asked, is training for 2 hours weightlifting too long or much? No. It just depends. No. Now, if you're doing a set every 30 seconds for 2 hours, then yes, that can be a lot. But again, I don't think that that's too much. It just depends on the individual, and it depends on the rest periods. It depends on their training. It just depends on a lot of different things. For example, I was just reading a study about this in Mass, that research review I read, that some individuals respond positively to upwards to 40-something sets per muscle group per week, which is a shit ton of sets. So, I mean, imagine that with pretty long rest periods. That can easily be a 2-hour workout. And in the workout, if you include the warm-up, the mobility routine, any of that good stuff, your cool down, that can easily reach 2 hours. Which is kind of annoying when people talk about short workouts. They never include the rest of the stuff. You said, is there any way to recruit and build fast twitch muscle fibers other than lifting explosively on the concentric? I'm not actually sure, no. You could do plyometric style training, which would still be lifting explosively on the concentric. I mean, not that I can think of. Nope. That'd be pretty hard to do. Yep. You want a high rate of force development, or you want to try to get a high rate of force development if you're trying to recruit muscle fibers in a fast manner. And I'm not even sure if saying it in the way that build fast twitch muscle fibers. You have like high threshold motor units that are only recruited when you're lifting very heavy loads or heavy loads. But that's not necessarily tied to fast twitch muscle fibers 100%. So no, that's an awkward question. No. That'd be hard. You said, how much would you say making gains is genetics? From what I've read, approximately 40% of everything that happens to you is due to genetics. So you can basically somewhat control 60% of what happens to you. 40% is a huge ass chunk. But that makes sense if you think about it. Even people with really small calves can, if you dig deep, grind hard, have a good program, and are patient, you can get probably pretty decent sized calves in a year or two. You can completely overwhelm the fact that you may not be genetically gifted with calves. Same thing with strength. If you're not like me, I'm not genetically gifted with strength, but I'm pretty close to a 500 deadlift. And when you think about the general population of natural athletes, most people aren't lifting past double body weight on deadlift. Most people aren't, and most people can't do 5 or even close to 500 pounds on deadlift. And I would 100% say that I'm someone who's not genetically gifted with strength. When I first started out training years and years ago, I couldn't even do more than 200 pounds on deadlift, which is pretty pathetic in regards to strength. So yeah, so genetics, I would say maybe roughly around 40%, but I could be wrong. But from what I read, it's about 40%, which is pretty huge of a thing. So if you guys have any questions, keep asking them. For anyone that's watching right now, let me know about New Year's goals. If you have any random questions about fitness, you can ask those too. I'm not going to stop you. It says, what would you consider an intermediate lifter's number to be? That's 100%. I don't even think I would classify that. Like, I wouldn't put people into an intermediate. Like, you might have like intermediate compared to like a mean, but I wouldn't even focus on that. Just focus on making progress with your own lifts. That's the most important thing. As long, like, there's too many things that can change with an individual in regards to strength, and there's too many factors that play into it that are outside your control. Hip structure, limb lengths, muscle origins and insertions, where they attach, to the bone, muscle fiber type, neuromuscular differences between individuals. Like, it's just so many that are different, that if you ask what an intermediate lifter's number to be, that might say, oh, you're worse or better than somebody, but I would just focus on progressing yourself. Just, it all matters in your progress to yourself. And even then, I don't even know what the numbers are off the top of my head in regards to what. Like, are you talking about like intermediate lifters compared to the average general population lifters, or there's intermediate lifters for natural power lifters? It's a whole nother category. So, but I couldn't come up with it. If you let me know what your lifts are, I can tell you, in my opinion, if I think that's good or bad. But yep, that's all I can do from there. But yep, if you guys have any New Year's goals, the main thing, like I was saying before, I'll continue on that until someone asks me another question, is with nutrition, like I was saying, is that all right, Santos, you asked another question. How would I be able to train 6 days a week without overtraining, while training at least 2 hours every training session, and want to get explosive in performance and bigger in aesthetics? One is work out with a good split. Do a push-pull leg split. So you could do push-pull legs. So you're staggering body parts. You're not like having any crossover between days. So like if you have a push-pull legs, you're not doing push muscle groups 2 days in a row, like you probably would with the bro split. Two, don't train to failure. If you're training to failure 6 days a week and you have 2 hours of work, don't do it. So stick to a good split. You could do push-pull legs, or you could do upper lower. Don't train to failure. Include good rest periods. Maybe make your rest periods 3 minutes for hypertrophy and 4 or 5 for strength. So if you're going heavy, Santos, take 4 or 5 minutes rest periods. And then if you're building for hypertrophy, take 3-minute rest periods. No less than 2 minutes. That'll help make your workouts a decent time. And I'm not just increasing your rest periods just to increase them to make your workout 2 hours. When you have longer rest periods, it's potentially going to have a positive effect on training volume, because you're going to be able to lift more. If you have really short rest periods, you're not going to be able to lift as much on subsequent sets. So if you take those rest periods that I just recommended and you don't train to failure, you won't be overtraining. You'll be optimizing your training in the gym, and then you'll have no problem with overtraining. And then if you're eating and sleeping enough, I don't think you'll have a problem. If you start training to failure on every single set, and then you're having short rest periods and you're just getting too much volume in, then you could lead to a point where you're overtraining. And then every while, maybe every couple months, implement a deload week. Santos, put like a week where you go no greater than a 5 RPE, stick to like RPEs of like 2 to 4 for that week, and then do half volume. And then that'll definitely help minimize fatigue. You said you're 17, 5'9", 158 bench is my weakest at 215 squat, 375, or 3... Oh, at 215, bench is my weakest at 215, squat 375, deadlift 425. 5'9", okay, not bad. Those are some pretty good numbers. Your bench could definitely use some work. Yes, that can definitely use some work. Squat and deadlift are good though, man. That's pretty, and your bench is not even that bad for your weight. But yes, if you're talking about, especially compared to your squat and your deadlift, those are respectable numbers. Same here, man. Chest is my weakest too, man. All push muscle groups are my weakest. You said your chest is the weakest body part. What would be your advice to get a lagging weak body part stronger and bigger? Well, with bigger, it's all about optimizing training volume. I talk about it a lot, but training volume is going to dictate the magnitude of adaptation. So you need to intelligently increase training volume over your training career. And then at the same time, for a specific exercise like bench press, I recommend doing it 2 to 3 times a week. If you really want to get it good, train it 3 times a week. That's what I would recommend. Doing bench press 3 times a week would be the best. A minimum of 2 times. That would be my best bet. Thank you for everyone who came during the stream. I'm gonna call it a stream right now. Santos, if you want to message me on my website, it seems like you have a lot of questions. We can connect. Go if you see the text. You can go to my website, jpfitnesspro.com, and at the bottom of my website, there will be a text box. Message me and put your email in there, and then I'll email you back. Or you can just email me, jp@jpfitnesspro.com. If any of you guys are interested in working with me for the New Year's, if you want training, or if you just have any questions, go to my website, or you can email me, jp@jpfitnesspro.com. Thank you, Santos. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Grumpy, Snorlax. Anyone who stopped by and didn't say anything, I appreciate it. Any questions you guys have after the fact when the stream's over, I will come back and answer them. Have a good holidays. I'll see you guys next stream.